Let's see if the audio works. Seems like it does. All right. Just be back in 1 minute. All right. So today we are going to look at doing some rocks, and they're going to form a character. And we're going to go for some kind of stylized rendering style. I watched Project Hail Mary, where they have this little guy called Rocky. He can do a bunch of stuff and he's pretty cool. So it's somewhat inspired by that, what we're going to do today, but it's not really going to be the same kind of shape at all. But it's going to be a character made of rocks. And that's that's kind of where the similarities stop. Hopefully it'll go well. I think I was just looking at this work here from Ode Abusid, and these are some pretty cool rocks. They're apparently generated using Substance Designer. So while we're not doing this like flat plane and like rocks sticking out of the plane type of style, I quite like the way the paint strokes kind of sit on top of the rocks. And I like this edge detail here as well. So, and as well like the overall breakup of the size of shapes and how much sharp planes there is versus how much softness on these rocks. So this is kind of what we're going to be going for. We'll see what happens. Hey Kieran, how you doing? Let's see if we're gonna be cooking. Maybe we're gonna burn it all. Hey Manus, nice to see you here. How are you guys doing? So I think for this thing, we're just kind of going to, we're gonna do a little bit of manual work. But I just want to test some process stuff before I get too deep into this, because I haven't thought too much about it yet, but hopefully it'll work the way that I think it will. No height fields, probably a little bit of noises. I think it's not I don't think my idea is super clear from these references. But I think we're going to go pretty simple with the actual model. And then we'll do some cops stuff. So I think we'll primarily be working with what I'm testing now, which I just want to see how this labs mesh sharpen does with this kind of shape here. I was thinking maybe some poly bevel. Yeah, I don't think that feels too bad. So I think maybe if we could catch a point or something like that. I don't know, I'm trying to ride a balance here between some procedural stuff and then some hand placed stuff. So let's see how that goes. Oh, that didn't select the point. Need to do it from here. Yes. Okay, sweet. So I'm guessing this edge here is the one that I beveled initially. How does it end up looking after the subdivision? Not very harsh at all. That's also because these are pretty extreme. So let's try something lower, something like that. It's pretty cool. Also pretty cool. I like that. It's a nice transition into the hard plane there. It's pretty nice. Let's see, how does this affect the shape? Okay, so the more subdivisions we do, the more the shape will start looking like the initial shape. And if we do too many subdivisions, as I just did now, we end up crashing. So I think 3 was a good number. It's like right in between this which feels very perfect and this which feels too lumpy. And we do this. That's pretty good. Okay. Because then we can just start shaping it like with these poly bevels, and we can do a manual edit. And we can just start making some cool shapes. I think that's going to work out pretty well. The labs node, of course. Of course. We're going to name the project Rocky. And then we'll get going. So let's see, do I want to turn this into a subnet? HDA? No, I think what I want to do is just cut that off here, and then I want to merge all of the shapes that I'm going to put into it. And if we just try, let me see here, if I make this quite a bit smaller here. If we just try to make something that sort of looks like what we want. Just thinking of some proportions now. I was considering a very tall head, so I think I'll play around with doing that. Oh, now the dog is upset. Let's see, maybe that head is too tall. Could be something like this. Then I think we need to move this all up a little bit and make a bit of a longer leg. Grab another box. I'll be right back. How dare people walk by? How dare they? I don't know. Okay, let's see what happens with this super abstract mess. So that ends up looking like this. I don't think that's too far off. I think maybe I want a hip as well. Whoop, got the wrong axis there. Something simple like that. And I also want to break up the leg and the arm into at least two shapes. Maybe we'll want a foot as well. So let's just do that. Oh, now I need to name things. There it is. That's the leg. Okay, great. So I think they also each need a slightly different treatment of this, just so, because this gets really soft, whereas this bigger shape has a bit more definition. So we'll definitely have to look at that as well. But just for now, this is fine. I think maybe we'll move this a little bit in underneath the character, and then this one can be outside. Can be even thinner. Then I do think we need a bit of a foot shape, so let's get that as well. At least we'll try, and then we'll see how it looks. Something like that. And then this part now is where I need to start adjusting things manually. So we'll get these two guys. that. And maybe I'll just grab everything here and make it a bit smaller. I think we can thin this up a bit more. Like so. And then maybe we'll start giving it some directionality as well. Just a little bit. Just a bit of an angle. Although maybe I don't want that actually. Maybe instead what I want is if I give this an edge loop in the middle along the height like that. Should also give it a bit of a different look. Yep, sure does. Okay, then I'll grab these vertices, move them out a little bit. I'll also just mirror this so I can see what I'm doing. And I've been modeling in the wrong direction, so we'll just do like that. And then we're not on center. Would have been smart to do before going this far, but let's do it now. Maybe it'll get even better from doing it. Who knows? This was the chest. So here it should be centered on set. And this hip thing should be as well. Like that. And the head. And then the arms we can move in like this. That's not too bad. He's kind of cute. I wonder if he should have like a squat head instead. It's like big chest, small head, long arms. I think that's more fun. That's pretty good. Okay. Then the arms. Want something like that. Maybe he's not really gonna have hands. He's just gonna have little stumps. I think that would be fine. So I'll just grab this here. Maybe it might be nice to just add an edge loop in the middle there so we have control over that. Then I'll take these guys at the bottom, squeeze them down. Whoa, that's T, move them over. maybe these guys can go up a little bit. It has a bit more of an odd shape. And then I think I want to move these guys up and into the arm so they kind of wedge into it. Could be even moving these guys out a little bit. Let's see. I have not been practicing my anatomy, so I don't always get it right here. Gotta practice your anatomy. Maybe more something like that. Sure. And then, oh, let me see if I lost sound. I don't think I did. Seems like it's fine. Then we can get this upper arm and also give that a bit of shaping here. Sure, it's also fun. I think I want to move back the shins, the lower leg, a little bit. And then probably forward the upper legs. Is this the upper leg? Yes. So move those a little bit forward. Then I think I'll just grab that middle edge loop there and move that all back a bit like so. And then what if I just hide the feet for now and scale down this part, unhide the feet, see what I'm doing. Should also just scale down the feet. Way too big. Hehe. Something like that. Starting to get cute. Scale that down so there's less intersection. I think for the chest and probably a lot of the other shapes as well, I just want to give it an edge loop here. And not that one here. Yep. Let's view the final version here and like that. Just shape him a little bit using these guys. Maybe let's get the entire top here like that and scale it all down. Not that much, just a little bit. And the whole bottom. Scale it down. That's a very different expression from what we had before. So if we go this route, I think we need to do something else with the arms. But I do like this better. It has a little bit more personality, then maybe we move this edge loop up a little bit to make more of a diamond shape or something. Sure. Seems good to me. I want to try with this leg here. I want to try to see what happens if I select this one, that point there, and I add a bevel to it. Yes. Exactly. It's exactly what I was hoping for. That's great. I don't know, this breaks a little bit, but I think we'll fix that later. But yes, that's quite perfect. And then I think we can do something similar probably to this top part here to get it to wedge into the torso. Yep. And they shouldn't be equally big. So maybe something like that, and then I can also take all of these top points here and just maybe scale them down a little bit. Move them in. No, moving them in is a no, at least for that side there. But maybe if I just grab these three, move those in. Maybe if this one follows. Yes. I think so. Then I need to get a bevel on this guy. Although maybe bevel is not the right choice. Maybe it's just about moving it a little bit. Let's try to see. No, that's not quite right. What if we take both of these, move them up and in? Let me just disable the arms here so I can see a little bit better. Yeah, so I think we might want to break this a little bit so we can push, or maybe we just want to rotate it a bit. I just want to push this top side here a bit more back towards the booty. So maybe, let's see. I'll just disable that edit for now and then go back and rotate a little bit. So we also get this curve here leading from the front going into the back side of the legs down at the bottom. And then maybe we want to, let's see, I didn't add an edge loop there in the middle. So this is where it starts getting a bit annoying that it's procedural, but I think I'll just need to add it and then fix what goes wrong here. So that one happens at the front, that's all good. This one doesn't, that's not good. This one needs to happen up here. There we go. Now that's fixed up. Sweet. Okay, And then I think we're good to start moving things around. Maybe something like that. I want to try to keep the shapes at least somewhat convex, so they don't get too sharp of bends like this, where you would think like, oh, the rock should have broken off here. I guess ideally it would look like this, but I don't really like that shape. But maybe I'll move that like that, and I'll take this part here and move that forward. Yes, that is already better. And then we take these two guys and move them in. Maybe this guy needs to go in a bit as well. Oh, now he's getting some chunky thighs. Don't know if I want that. I think I liked something about where we were before better. So maybe we don't pursue that too much. Just stick to a more simple look. I want to try to bevel this edge here now. Let's see, where was that? Is it there? No. No, no. We need to go back here. It's the first thing I added. So if I add a bevel here, then I can do like that. Yeah, and see, this one is one of the ones I'm talking about where I want it to be more sharp. So that's where we would need to kind of specify what this poly bevel here does per shape, rather than one size fits all kind of. So maybe what I'll do is just quickly turn this into a digital asset and promote a few parameters. Okay. So let's see, I don't want to save it in my preferences. I'm gonna put it in this dailies project. And then we'll call it, I don't know, Rocky Bevel or something like that. Sure. Okay. And then we promote a few parameters, like this distance here. The divisions might be nice as well. Let's name that bevel distance. And bevel divisions. And we're just gonna go over and give all this stuff clean names. like that. And then for my favorite part, which is this website here, which I love. I'm gonna see if they have a rock that I can use. And that is not exactly what I was hoping. But let's see. What does the sharpen? That looks like that. That's kind of boring. In that case, I think I'm just gonna use this one because at least it feels a lot like a rock. It's not quite right. I don't know about bevel. No, I'm taking the rock. Just because I like to give my tools icons. Well, that doesn't. What? That doesn't read quite right. There's this one, right? Take that. Hey, Mandy, how you doing? Oh, maybe they changed this icon. Maybe the website isn't updated. Yeah, so this website Houdini icons, houdini-icons.dev is amazing. I love it. I think I'll take this one instead. That one definitely feels like some rock stuff. Let's see, and now it's upset. Now it's like baked in or whatever. You still didn't recover from from Houdini. Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was rough for me, and I barely participated. So I bet you ended up landing the 3rd place, right? Okay, well, we got a rocky bevel, and now we can. Sweet. It's nice that it sort of retains the same shape. Yeah, I thought I remembered. Yeah, congratulations, Mandy. It's awesome. So this one, I think we want to decrease the bevel distance a little bit. We might even want to, no, that's too much work for this. It would have been cool to be able to control individually on each edge. We could, of course, use an attribute, right? We could use an attribute. I think we'll do that. You did some really good work, Mandy. It was very inspiring to see. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. So we're going to make an attribute called __ p-scale. And then we're just going to delete that at the end. Let's see, is that on? Yeah, so that's on points. Okay. So if I do an attribute paint, Yes. Exactly. Oh my god, that's great. So then I can turn this up. And now we can control it more individually. Sweet. Your unicorn was inspired from my frog stream. Gave you the confidence to try out modeling using VDB. Yeah, that's great to hear. It's such a fun process. Okay, so I think what I want is, I want a bit less opacity probably. And then, what is it, control? Then I'll paint the background, so then I'll sharpen up edges. Yes, okay, great. So then maybe with this setup, we could just go through and now I'm going back on what I said. We could just go through and do it on the whole thing, but it might be nice to segment it up. I don't know. I think we also want to check if the attribute even exists, because if it doesn't, then it doesn't make much sense to use this. So we'll drop down a switch if. And attribute presence. That's this one here. And maybe we just want to expose that as well. This is a bit of a side quest. This is not part of the main mission. Like that. Okay. So this is the mask attribute. I think we'll call it. Move that up to the top. Like that. And then we'll say if this mask attribute exists. Like that. If the mask attribute exists, then use second input if all conditions true. No, if all conditions false. We'll use the second input. Does this one make it regardless of its existence? Because in that case, we want to do it the other way around. Maybe we just want to do it the other way around anyway. Then we will say if all conditions true, and then we'll do a polybevel. Actually, we'll just grab this one, plug it in there, and then we'll disable that scaling. So let's see now, I think. Yes, if I disable this, then it'll still do something, because it'll run this stream here instead of that stream here. I think just to check, just to be completely sure, I'll color it or something, and then we'll see. Yeah, okay, great. So that logic works. Sweet. What's it complaining about? It can't find p-scale. That's great. That's why we have the switch. Okay, so match current definition. We'll leave that on here. Then we'll do a rocky bevel for each of them. And maybe we'll just name the things as well. That's the foot. Lower leg. Upper leg. Get that rocky bevel there too. Oh, one thing I should update is that now I have this mask attribute parameter. I should also just do something like an attribute rename here. Or maybe even attribute remap. And then just original name will be that mask attribute. And then I can just do like this. So then we don't need to reference that directly here. And then we can just delete this temporary, this temporary one. Like so. And we're also going to be checking for no, that's fine. Yep. So then we can change the default. Just call it p-scale instead. Like that. Okay, great. Moving on. Not quite moving on. What's going wrong here? Oh, I saved it at this stage. Because it should only be like this, right? Yes. Okay, there we go. Moving on. Let's see. Yep, still looking swell. This was the chest. This one is the hips. The head. Let's remember to get this rocky bevel acid on all of them. What was this? This is the upper arm. And this here is the lower arm. Okay, great. Lots of repetition there. But at least now we have a lot of control over what happens. So what I did want to do here is bring this value here down a little bit so that part gets sharper. Something like that. We can increase this again. Sweet. And I think we can even, let's see if I add another bevel. to this point here. It will mess up these values for now, but I think we can just recache the strokes and then it should work again. Seems like it does. It's a little bit funky. A little bit funky. Is that because of this attribute? Maybe partially yes. So maybe what I want to do is just grab this and decrease this a little bit, and then it should be fixed up. Yep. Okay, nice. It's a pretty neat rock shape right there. God aften, Philip. How you doing? Good to see you. So then I think I want to add another attribute paint here. It really should default to mask instead of p-scale actually, because that's what attribute paint defaults to. Mask. Oh, didn't unlock it first. Let's do that. Mask. Apply. Accept. Yeah, Mandy. Yeah, I'm from Denmark. You're from Sweden, right? Or live in Sweden? I don't know. I feel like I saw something at some point. Maybe it's completely wrong. Okay. So mask and mask. And now we got an attribute called mask. And does this thing have an option to just flood the entire thing, or do I need to... Oh, fill? Yeah, sweet. Okay, so we've filled it up, and now we can just go volume again. And then just like before, I just want to lower the opacity and then start subtracting slowly. It's a little bit distracting with the coloring actually. Is that, can you turn that off somehow? Is that here? Yes. Okay, nice. Whereabouts in Sweden are you, Mandy? Okay, great. Then maybe here on the outer side of the foot. Ah, German living in Sweden. All right. I see. Maybe we can just add a bevel here on this edge. Something like that, and then fix this thing up, recache the strokes. Then we want this much sharper. I think we just want to grab this edge and move it in a little bit. Can move it up like that. In the north, ooh. So I bet I'm complaining about it being cold right now. I guess if you live way up there, it's probably very cold. Philip thought we were capturing weights. I'm not that far, no, but I also think this guy will be mostly just packed capture eventually. I don't think we'll get there today though. I think we had a few distractions, but that's all right. Let's just fix up the shape here, make it a bit more footy. But maybe, I don't know, I like that it is a little bit stout. So maybe we can get the whole thing, move it a bit forward. Something like that. Yes. Oh, whoops. Wires are getting too close. Just do like this. Do a bit of reorganizing. I'm thinking I might want to just push this part of the leg up a little bit so it doesn't intersect so harshly with the foot. I think so. So lower leg is here. I think we'll be fine to just grab these bottom vertices, move them up. And then now that I've done that, the whole thing needs to be a little bit thinner. No, I think he gets a bit too thin if I make them too much thinner. It's just a little bit. Then we can take these two front ones and move those back a bit. Something like that. I think that looks pretty cool. Visited Denmark once. Copenhagen was beautiful. Copenhagen is nice. Okay, upper leg. We have this part here, which is acting weird. I want to see if we can get that fixed. It looks like the fix will just be to use our trusty attribute paint setup here. And let's see. Let's fill it. And then brush opacity. How do I... Can I control that with my mouse? No. Doesn't seem like it. I'll go here and turn it down. Okay. There we go. I feel like we've got a pretty neat modeling setup now. Maybe I want to move this part back a little bit. It could be interesting to see if we could get the front of the thigh forward. So do I have an edit? No, I don't have an edit node on this. So this part, I'll move it back a bit. See how that looks. Seems all good. And then these two guys, move them forward. I do still want to see if I can get this in a little bit underneath him, just so it doesn't stick out so much. Something like that. Can I do the same thing with this part? You can hear the taps. Yeah. It's very cute. Okay, in better shape now. Let's give some action to the hips. Ready for Fantastic Four? Oh yeah. So did I give this? Nope, I didn't. I think I'll just go ahead and give it 3, 3, and 3. Can move this one out a little bit. That seems to fix that artifact. Scale it in here. And maybe take this entire bit here and move it up. I think I'll take this, move it down a little bit. Maybe just scale them closer together again. Something like that. And then I think it could be nice to give it a bevel somewhere, maybe up here, maybe down here. Let's try. Maybe this one. Let's try to decrease this right here. That's pretty neat. I think we can paint our way out of these artifacts. But I do think we could also get away with adding a bevel here at the bottom. Oh, disappears. Okay, so maybe that's just a small chip like this. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe we do a small chip up here and then we do a bigger chip at the bottom. Yes, I think that's better. Okay. Great. Maybe get this plane here at the top, move it in a little bit. And then give it a bit of a butt shape. Hoo-hoo. Rocky's got cake. Do like that. Oh. I don't know what happened there. When I was pressing 1, 2, and 3, it was switching between the viewports. I wasn't holding anything down though. Weird. Oh yeah, I wanted to get this one and try to see if pushing it out might look nicer. Yep, sure. Okay. Then maybe we can get the upper leg and do a little bit of fixing up here. I want to try to decrease the strength of the bevel a bit here at the top too, because it feels a bit too strong. That seems better. And then maybe we'll grab this stuff here, move it out a little bit. We could try to get this edge loop here, move it up and out. That's pretty neat. Oh, it's doing it again. Weird. Yep. Okay. Then I want to do a pass on the arms. No. Don't want to do a pass on the arms yet. I want to grab these vertices in here and move them out a little bit so they sit along with the hips. I don't think that's exactly the look that I want. Maybe if I move this part up so it sits more flush with it, and then I can select, let me see if I just get this one, I can select this edge here and add a bevel. No, don't like that. I think it's better to just move it out of the way. Something like that. Okay. Philip came a little late. The attribute paint is controlling the bevel amount. Yes, so attribute paint, a mask, goes into this rocky bevel that we made, which controls the bevel amount here. Yeah, that's it actually. Just controls how much it bevels before it starts sharpening. Okay, time to give some attention to the arms. Upper arm. Okay. These guys should get a bevel. We could potentially also just get that selection, move it in a bit. And then this part here, maybe I can scale it in. I think that'll be better. Let's see if we move it up as well. Maybe rotate it. That's very even in the distribution here. Maybe I'll move this up a little bit more and then get this lower arm, move that up a bit more. So we gotta imagine we also kind of have the hand shape in this lower arm here as well. I think that was actually pretty satisfying before. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Starting to look pretty interesting. We'll do a pass on the head. I think we also want to do a bit of painting, attribute painting there. But let's do a pass on the head here. I think I want a bit more to work with, so I'll just give it 3, 3, and 3, not 32. It's too much. 3, 3, and 3. And then let's reuse some of the shape language here. Like that. Just move all this up a little bit. Scale it so it's more flat. Yep. Scale that part up. Well, well, well. It's pretty sweet. Maybe we'll give him eyes as well. We can do a cube. Plug it into this rocky bevel. Increase the bevel distance quite a bit. Maybe do a little bit of a, what's it, point jitter? Yes, point jitter. Before we do. And like this. That could be an eye. Just need to move it into place. I like that. That's cute. Do they need to be smaller? Oh, yes. They do need to be smaller. Oh, that is great. I like that a lot. Let's put it on his face. There we go. I wonder if at this point, I don't think it'll do too well, but if at this point we add a mountain, and let's not do it along the vector, Let's do this. Maybe F2 minus F1. And then decrease the fractal roughness here. Maybe it should be along the vector, only be positive. We're inflating him. I don't think that's a good call. It needs to, yeah, it needs to be smaller scale than smaller element size. But this kind of stuff, I don't think it actually will end up making a big difference. So maybe let's just leave it out. I think we could do with rotating him a little bit, maybe. But then again, he is a rock, right? Maybe we don't want to do that. Do want to fix this down here though. So that's the lower leg. No, the upper leg, of course. The upper leg. Just make that less strong here as well. There we go. Maybe we'll get the chest here. It's happening again. S2, there we go. Get the chest here. Move it a bit forward. That's too sharp. Something like this, and then grab both these guys. Move it all a bit forward. Grab this one, move that a bit forward. Yep. Okay. Could try as well to bevel this. Just a little bit. See what that does. If that does anything good for us. That doesn't immediately look great, but maybe if I do the attribute paint thing. Fill it. And then decrease. It gets a bit sharper up here. Maybe just decrease it a little bit in most places actually. Especially here. Sharpen it up here. Yep. Okay. Some good variation. Then I think just so we get somewhere, I will try to do an auto UV thing. Which might not be the best way to go about it, but we'll see. Auto UV. Let's add a null. Like that. And then sub import to bring in the geometry. There we go. Put them in the preview material. And then let's see if any of these grunges feel like what we're looking for. I think this is nice with the layering. Let's try rust. What does that look like? Could also be interesting. Birch bark. No, that one isn't it. Grunge. Layered noise, what does that look like? Also interesting. Probably not it, but let's see. Box is right at the start. If not, auto UV is already nicely randomized for noise. Yeah, so you're thinking if the UVs are already on these boxes, then I'll be able to control the directionality better than I do with the auto UV. That's true. I don't think I particularly care about the orientation. I had a setup at one point. I don't know if I can bring it back, but that kind of went over and tried to reorient the UVs so they were all lined up with the world as much as possible. But yeah, anyway, I don't think I care about the orientation of the UVs that much, because I think we're just going to add some detail. Yeah, or if you want to place letters or decals on the dude, it's a good point. Don't think I want to. Anyway, let's take this rust thing maybe and do mono to RGB so we can color ramp it. That goes into the base color. I think one thing that I do care about though is seams, which we're not seeing a lot here yet, so maybe we're seeing it here, for example. So we could do, what's it, bake setup. I think we might want to do this anyway. And I can never remember, can you, because it's been a while since I've done this, can you just do this same mesh in the low and the high and it'll still figure something out? I hope so. But then we could use the position here. I wonder, is that gonna work with this, or do we need it to go directly into a noise? Oh, so that complains. That won't make a difference. Which makes sense because we're UV sampling it, so it would have to be a noise, I guess, for it to work. Which is annoying because I think these guys are all made up of noises, right? So yeah. So in theory you should, I mean this one I guess requires this ramp here. But in theory you should be able to just plug in your position into these noises instead. But anyway, they need to be 3D, fractal noise 3D. Get the position. Is that seams we're still seeing? Oh. It's not showing. Why are you not showing? Seems like a bug. Let's see, position. It doesn't show it at all. Is that because I don't... Do I need to tell it that I want it? Do I have it now? Ah, okay. So I guess I don't know. I don't even know what it was passing through, but I guess it wasn't doing anything. There we go. So we're still seeing the seams a little bit. I don't remember if... Is it just this will fix it? Enable UV boundary filling. I mean, it should. Doesn't look like it's all perfect though. I think we could get much more into this workflow next time. I think for now, I'll just pretend that I'm happy with that. Then we'll make this bigger. Increase the amplitude. See, cloud noise 3D, crystal noise 3D. Crystal noise is usually very nice for rocky stuff. So maybe what we could do is get this guy and... No, I think we'll do it like this. Like this. And position. Result. Oh, COPS has triplanar? It does. We'll have to explore that as well. I didn't know about that. Okay, something like this. Increase the element size a bit here. Cool. Let's remap. Sure. And then mono to RGB. And then let's just try to grab some colors. I like to put in some somewhat unexpected colors, but just have them there a little bit. For stuff like rocks and things like that. See something like this, and then put this one on the other side as well. And one of them closer here. This one could be a bit darker. Maybe more red. This might be too high of a contrast, so maybe if I brighten that up so it sits more within the same value range, like that. And I'll just place another funky color here. And just get two very similar colors close to it. Like that. Increase the resolution. I think all this stuff we want the element size to be bigger. Just all over. Maybe I'll add a bit less of this. Like so. Scratch that. I do want to add a lot of it. Don't want to add a lot of it? Don't know. That's a bit too much with this pink color here. I think we'll leave it a bit more simple like this. I think the crystal noise is new to Houdini 21, so it's not new, but it is a little bit new. So just so we can actually see that we've gotten somewhere, I also want to get the curvature. Let's see. Sweet. And maybe ambient occlusion as well. That's already output. That's great. So curvature. Like this. That's the background. Curvature is the mask. And then we need some kind of foreground, which I think for now I'll just leave that as a constant. Then next time around we can change it to something cooler. But here it'll just be a slightly brighter color. And then threshold, the mask, so we don't have it all over the place. See, I do want a little bit of width on it, but not too much. I think, do we have any settings for the curvature here? Yes. So I think we should play around with these a little bit because we're not quite getting what I want. I want it to be a bit sharper, basically. So let's try to see if I change these values. So this, I think, is just some kind of contrast thing, so that, yeah, so that should just be left at 1. Maybe this max distance is what'll help us. What about bias? What does that do? Whether the map looks more concave or more convex. Well, it should be fully convex. So I guess we'll set it to 1. And then is this because it needs more resolution or it needs more samples? Seems like it's more samples. I think maybe having a different low and high mesh could change that. So we could try, let's leave that out mesh and then poly reduce another version to be the low poly. I'm not really sure, just guessing now. Out low. Oh, are we crashing? No. No, that didn't make a difference. I guess what we can do is just blur it a little bit. And that'll help. And we can also distort it by slope. Then we need a slope direction. We could maybe just use this noise stuff that we already have. See if we get it like this. Something like that. And then I'm wondering if this dilate erode could thin the lines up a little bit for us. So if we put this radius into the negatives. Yep. Not too bad. Not too bad. I want this to be more subtle. Maybe like that. All right. That's great. This whole pattern is a bit on the nose. I don't I don't love that. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do about that yet, but we've gotten to somewhere, to here. And next time we'll just keep working. This, I showed this at the beginning, but this is kind of the reference for the rocks that I've been having a look at. And what I really like about them is the subtle color differences that are in them, and these like streaks that sit on top of the planes, which, as we talked about, is something the auto UV already kind of helps you do a little bit. Yeah. Probably a bit more modeling as well, but just wanted to kind of set up the workflow for the guy. So let's get let's see here. Maybe we can just rotate him so he faces the front. Let's just get some kind of a nice picture of him. Oh no. Where will he look good? Nowhere. He looks terrible. Oh no. Oh, it's because I'm in physical sky. I want it to be in 3-point lighting. There we go. That's better. Yeah, so this is our guy. For the time being. Maybe let's default roughness, turn that up. So just to go through the process a little bit, started out with a bunch of boxes to block out and merge them all together. In between, we have some manual editing of the boxes and this rocky bevel asset that we made, which allows us to paint an attribute on top of each of these different meshes. And that attribute just shows us how sharp we want that rocky feeling bevel to be. We've named everything, putting it into a mirror and clip, did some quick auto UVs, and then used the bake setup to get the curvature and the position map. And then we ended up here with a few noises. And that's it. So hopefully next time we'll be able to do a bit more texturing, maybe give him a rig and think a little bit more about the shapes probably and how they all fit together. Because I think it would be nice if there were no intersections, but I'm not sure if it's a deal breaker if there are some. So thank you all for joining. I'll see you some other time.